Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Wednesday, July the 15th. And welcome to our commentary. As we like to do once a week, we'll be chatting with our good friend Bill Katz, the editor of Urgent Agenda. Bill, welcome. It's very hot here. And I don't know what else to say other than that's the way it usually is in July around here, Bill.
Well, it's warm here.
Yeah.
It's not hot here, uh, uh, and really the big news in New York is the fact that the city itself, the city of New York itself, is really in a state of collapse.
Yes.
And I was given a briefing a few days ago by people from banking who really know what's going on, and it was so depressing. They said essentially New York has no future, and
Isn't that depressing? That
it's
really
terribly
is.
depressing
Yeah.
because they cannot. Businesses in New York are not going to risk themselves over a city run by crazy anti-American foreigners, and there's no great reason for people to either live in New York or visit New York as a tourist because there's nothing for the tourists to see except other people beating each other up.
It's so, I mean, it's funny. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. It's very, very sad what's happened in New York City because you mentioned something about people visiting. That was always a great place to go visit.
Oh yes,
New York City was probably, I don't know whether it was the number one attraction, but certainly one of them. And there was something about, there was something about going to New York City, but especially at Christmas time with all the
oh
lights and
yes,
all of
oh
that.
sure.
There was something so amazing about it. And now there's also so much history there in New York City. I mean, so much U.S. history there.
Oh, of course.
But now you have this this mayor who, I mean, I have no idea how he even got elected. I guess he did.
Well, the New York City and New York State electoral systems are unbelievably ridiculous. They were basically set up to make sure that certain people stayed in power. Theoretically, the governor of New York can remove the mayor of New York, but it's a process so complicated that nobody really tries it.
Well, I think the problem right now is the governor herself.
Well,
She's not
sure.
exactly a very strong personality. I mean, if there was a new governor, and I guess there could be, I don't, I've not been following that election, but if there was a new governor, perhaps this guy who is running as a Republican, who's the county executive, I believe, right there next to you, New York City. I think Nassau
Yes,
County. Yeah,
Nassau County.
Nassau County.
We used to live in Nassau County.
Yeah, he might pull it off, but not Governor Hochul because she's just as afraid of these people as everybody else in the Democratic Party is. And I wanted to ask you about that later, but before we go too much further, I'm just completely in shock when I heard about Lindsey Graham. I
Yes,
was Sunday morning. I get up and as I like to do, look at the headlines, and I see this, and I go, "Wait a minute, that can't be true." So I checked it in a couple of places, and what a terrible tragedy. I mean, this is, I think, one
how
of the really good senators.
he was a great senator. Lindsey Graham was really a terrific senator, very much on our side, and a witty guy, a likable guy. He was known all over the world. One of the most famous of the current, well, not current anymore, but of the senators in a Senate that isn't terribly exciting on most days. I mean, I remember this is a long time ago when the United States Senate was a very special place,
Hmm.
and senators were almost as famous as the president. I mean, especially in the South. They had senators, for whom buildings have been named. And what do they have today? All they want to do is fight each other and make foolish comments. And the Senate was supposed to be, it was set up as a deliberative body, and that's exactly what it should be. But
And what
the
it isn't.
and what it isn't, because the
Yeah.
people who have understandings of what these institutions mean and what they should be have very little power left in their parties.
Right. And I've said this before, and I know it's impossible because it would require a constitutional amendment, so that's never going to happen, I guess. But it would be nice to try maybe a quarter century of going back to the way it used to be, where the states usually actually would select their senators.
That's right.
I guess the state legislatures did it. I think we would get better people. Right now, we're getting very political. We have a very political Senate,
Hmm.
and it just seems like it's very partisan. I don't mind the politics, but it's awfully partisan. And Bill, look at what is happening. I guess today, and what's happened many times when they have a nomination to consider. When before Roe v. Wade, every nomination to the Supreme Court was about abortion. And now every nomination, like this acting attorney general, the other guy, they're all about Trump. And it seems like we have to beat up on Trump's nominee because we have to. That's what we're supposed to do.
That's what they're there for. Yeah.
Yeah, they're asking some idiotic questions, and you have to sit there. You feel sorry for the guy who is put in that table there answering these questions, because I don't learn anything, Bill, about anything when I watch these clowns. I turn it off after a while.
I think you're absolutely correct. I'm old enough to remember when the Senate, after television was introduced, and most people had some kind of television set, watching the United States Senate was really a privilege. It really was, and you learned a great deal. There was a certain courtesy, but now it's more like watching a comedy act that has already failed.
Well, it's a little bit like I mean, it's almost like watching the House, but you expect the House to be partisan. In a sense, you expect the members of the House to be more loud and more partisan. But the members of the Senate, you're expecting them to be more statesmanlike.
Yes.
But you don't get that. I
No.
mean, and these hearings, I mean, these hearings today are just a joke.
Yes, and what's interesting is that there was a time when the Senate liked to call itself the most deliberative body in the world. They are certainly not deliberative today.
No, they're an absolute joke.
And the leaders who at one time really were truly distinguished, now, especially in the Democratic Party, is, well, we get one from this group, another from another group, and somebody else who came over here from Bavaria, and it's
Yeah, they have to have a left-handed senator. They have to have a
sure.
right-handed senator. I mean, yeah, it's really ridiculous. I mean, look, I just hope they never get the majority. That's
that is the great fear.
Yeah, because that's what at least I think we can handle them when they're in the minority. But that lady from Hawaii, the lady from Hawaii, is Mirono, I think is her name. She's obnoxious. She's sitting there asking the I guess the acting attorney general, who's been nominated to be attorney general, asking him, Bill, if he's engaged in any sexual abuse. Did I lose you? I think I just lost Bill here for a second. Let me see. I think I just lost Bill, but anyway, we'll get him back in a second. But you have this situation where, let me see if I'll get him to come back in. Bill, just come back in. Try the. Oh, you're back. Okay,
Yeah.
You're back. Okay, yeah. I lost you there for a second. No, but what I'm saying is, Bill, this lady from Hawaii,
Yes,
Senator Mirono, I think is her name.
yes, that's her name.
She's asking the acting attorney general if he's ever, I guess, sexually abused a woman. And I'm going, okay, what does that have? I mean, first of all, this guy has no history of that.
No, it's not something you normally ask unless you have some evidence
Right.
that you want to bring up.
Yeah, you may not like him. That's fine. I mean, that's okay. But
no, she's notably stupid, and I mean, she really abuses the privilege. She has a lot of years representing Hawaii. I have no idea how she got there or what she actually does, but she has a reputation for a particularly inferior mind.
Yeah, her questions are absolutely insane. She goes, "Well, I have to ask you this because you're going to be in a federal job, and so have you ever engaged in sexual abuse or sexual harassment?"
Yes,
I think we can do better than that, Bill.
we can, and there are still some fine senators out
Of
there,
course.
but the United States Senate is not what it was when I lived in Washington many years ago, and to go down and watch a Senate debate was a privilege.
Yes, and these people were smart, and you kept thinking to yourself, they actually care about the country, which is why you elect them for 6 years, so they're not
That's
caught
right.
up in the politics of it.
That's the purpose of it.
Yeah, and yet they're just as partisan as the House members who are elected for 2 years. I mean, you can tolerate partisanship down there in the House, but in the Senate, you expect something better. But Bill, I think part of the problem, and I want to get your reaction to this because I think part of the problem is the Democrat. If you're a Democrat today, I know I've said this before, but I think it's true and more true. I believe this more and more. The biggest fear, if you're a Democrat today, you could care less about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. You could care less about anything. The thing that just has you terrified to no end is a primary.
That's exactly right. And even though the number of people who vote in primaries is still very small, I wish the press would tell us. It would be nice to know how many people actually vote in particular primaries. Because the one in New York, which started this whole thing, I mean, it was very few people actually voted.
Yeah. But look at New York. I mean, how many Democrats went down? Two incumbents went down.
Oh, yes, I think it was
And
more than two.
yeah,
And yet, on the other hand, it's the most interesting thing. There are incumbent Democrats in New York who survived,
yeah.
even though they didn't even look like the people in their district, took all the positions that people in their district opposed and still survived. Why? Because they had built up strength over the years and
Right.
built up a following over the years. And those were the people who went out in the primary and voted for them.
You have right now, Bill, on the Democrat side, a fellow in Michigan who I don't know. He may win the primary. I don't
Yes.
think he'll win the election, but the guy is just absolutely as far as left as you can get. You have a lady running for governor of Wisconsin in the primary who is, again, as far left as you can get.
Yes.
You have James Tallarico down here in Texas, who it seems like every day they have a new video of this guy. I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting there saying, did this guy ever do anything in politics other than make videos? Because every day there's a new video of him.
Yes. Well,
Um,
this is the new breed, or the people who hope to be the new breed. I'm hopeful, not necessarily all that optimistic, but
yeah,
hopeful that this too shall pass, and
I
that
hope so.
the center of both parties will begin to reorganize. I don't think that the Democrats will be successful at it, but I think a lot of other people will be, and some of these people will be shoved to the side, which is where they belong.
Yeah, I think somebody's got to tell him, Bill, that this. You see that office on the street 2 weeks away, two blocks away, with the little flag and the hammer
Yeah.
and the sickle, the red one. Go down there because that's where you need to be.
Hmm.
That's what they need to be told because these are not Democrats. And like I think you said before the show, they use the Democrat Party because it's easy to get elected that way.
Yes.
I mean, if there was a Nationalist Socialist Party, they could never win. So, but it has turned the Democrat Party into a joke, and it's probably the best thing that Trump has going for him in 2026.
Well, it's simply incredible, isn't it, that we are
Yes.
obviously in a very, very, very tense 2 weeks internationally. A lot may very well happen, And the best the Democrats can come up with is that the whole thing is illegal, that the other side is winning,
Right.
and we ought to just give it up. And
Right.
I have never heard language like that in a war situation from the opposition party. The usual tradition is they will call the president and say, "We of course support the effort of the nation. Tell us what we can do." That has
Right.
happened many times.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I just heard a congressman in the last hour say that everything in Iran, there's no plan. Everything is a disaster. And I'm going, really? Everything is a disaster? I mean,
Yes.
how do you jump to that conclusion other than I don't
And
like Trump and I want to protect myself from a primary?
that's exactly what it's about. I mean, the idea that they are saying that the enemy is stronger now than he was before the war. The enemy isn't even functioning.
Right.
I mean, they have very little left. Uh, they can do something with it. There may be enough fanatics in the Iranian government to sacrifice themselves, although I'm not sure of that. But the idea that the military operations that we've run so far have been failures is ridiculous. They have been extraordinarily successful and in a very short period of time.
Right. And even the straits, the Strait of Hormuz, our Navy has opened up a couple of lanes for oil ships to go by. So they're going through, not like before, obviously, but they're going through. So that, they don't have as much power there as they thought. But the way sometimes you hear these Democrats talk, you get you get the impression that Iran owns the strait. Like,
Yes,
the strait is an international waterway.
that's exactly the point. And it has to remain an international waterway. We cannot have international waterways just stolen because
Right.
somebody wants to steal it.
Right. And they put mines on there,
Yes.
which is the problem. But I don't know. I just think the party is in total disarray. And even if they were to win the House, God bless whoever the speaker is, because it's going to be madness. And whoever runs for president in 28 on the Democrat side is going to regret that he has a Democrat House to pair up with.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be, it's going to be a collection. They're going to be introducing from the moment they walk in. They're going to be doing, they're going to be investigating, I guess, the Trump children. They're going to be investigating everything. And I just don't think the public wants that, Bill.
I don't think the public wants that at all. The public wants to be served,
Yeah.
and to have their considerations, their concerns considered and acted upon. Also, it is up to the both parties right now. It is up to both of them to deal with the foreign policy of this country in a responsible way, because I have a feeling that all hell is about to break loose.
And that's going to be my next point, because
Yes.
I think President Trump has reached that point. I give him, okay, let me kind of back up. You and I have talked about this before, but just to refresh, I always felt from day one that he should take him out.
Yes.
That I don't think you negotiate with these people. But at the same time, having said that, I was willing to give these people, or whoever's there, I don't even know who's there, at least an opportunity to get out of the hold, and at least
Yes.
maybe sign a document that we could enforce. But obviously, that's not who we're dealing with. We're dealing, I guess, on one hand, Bill, we negotiate with these guys, and then the guys in the other room start firing missiles because they're not
Right.
even together, these guys.
Well, I think it's fair to say that we don't actually know who we're negotiating with,
Exactly.
and a very rare situation. I mean, where usually if a country is big enough to fight the United States, it's usually well organized, and this is complete chaos, and yet the people in Iran are obviously afraid to actually to publicly take them on because they'll be killed.
Right. But there may come a point, though, and that's what I think Trump is banking on, there may be a point where you hit them so hard that you basically just blow them up,
Yes.
and they cannot kill you because they don't even have enough soldiers to do that.
Well,
Or
they,
there may
you
be
know,
discontent from within the ranks, and they'll turn on the leaders.
any of these things is possible, but I think that if he goes military, the president, it will be very strongly military. I
Yes.
don't think he's going to listen to some of these fools that have been around him in his presidency. He will listen to people like Admiral Cooper, people who really know how to fight a war and get the result quickly. And I think we may be living in a very different world in 2 weeks. I don't
Right.
know. I'm only speculating, but I have this dread fear that the Democrats will almost want to make us lose, and that's a very very rare thing in a country like this.
Well, and I maybe it's all about Trump.
Yes, of
You know,
course.
it's not really about, I'm willing to. It's hard for me to think that somebody would want their country to lose, but if you hate Trump enough, you'll do a lot of stupid things,
Oh yes.
and that's what this is all about. It's just we hate Trump so much that whatever it takes to make Trump look bad, even if that hurts the country, we support that because we want him to fail. Well, he doesn't fail. I mean, Trump's still the president of the United States, so he doesn't fail by himself.
No.
The rest of us are failing too.
Well, that's the point, and the country is not served,
Yes.
and that is a particularly horrible thing in a wartime situation.
Well, Bill, it's like when President Obama took out Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
I was happy. I mean, I wasn't expecting it the way it happened, but I was delighted that it happened.
Yes.
And I just said, great. I'm glad he did it. You know, I wish McCain would have done it because I voted for McCain.
So did
But,
I.
but okay, Obama did it. So he got to do it, celebrate it, take credit for it. The country's better off
Yes.
because we got rid of him. But and that's how I feel here. That's how a Democrat should feel. A Democrat should say, okay, I don't like the president, but I hopefully don't like Iran either. And I fear Iran. This is a country, Bill, for as long as I can remember, we've been talking about Iran.
Oh yes. Well, sure. They were a big issue in the news even before the overthrow of the government in 1979.
Right.
Many people, though, still think of it as a small country. It's actually a very large country with 90 million people, and it's Persian. It's a very cultured a country with a distinguished history in many respects, and now it's been taken over by the worst possible. Well, as did happen, the same thing happened in Germany. A country with a brilliant past in many cases, and was taken over by crazies.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think Trump is gonna cut the head of the snake. I really do.
I hope so.
And I think that he's gonna use military tactics that maybe we have not even seen before, but he's gonna do it, and hopefully that brings about that rebellion from within. But I mean, I've heard that we're going to be hitting. We may end up leaving the people of Iran without water and electricity.
Yes,
That's how bad these attacks are going to be.
yes, and
That's what I've heard.
that would be wrong. That would be just not of any value to us, and of course they will turn against us. So I think they will. I don't know if they can. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I think they could probably still have basics available to the people, or we could do another Berlin airlift,
Right.
where we fly in the basics that the people need, and it's coming from the United States. We did that in 1948 with great success. No guarantee of success, but it can be done. And we have the airlift capability for it.
And it would be easier because they wouldn't have the Air Force. At least the Soviets back in 48 had the missiles and the Air Force to potentially attack us.
Yes.
They didn't, I know. But now it would just be a matter of getting airplanes over there. We could also make a commitment to them that we're going to help them rebuild it,
Yes.
which I would be willing to do
Well,
or support.
if they rebuild it and provide American companies with
Right.
some good business and American workers with some good business, I think that look, we rebuilt Europe after the Second World War, and we rebuilt part of Japan as well. So there is precedent for it.
Sure. And we could even ask the French to help.
Yes, or at least to come in afterward and
That's
say,
right.
now that it is all finished, what you need is pictures on the wall.
Right, right. You need some nice French cafes here, Bill, so people can have a cafe or coffee after the bombs. No, but I do feel very strongly that I'm not saying it's going to be this week, but I do think that it's coming. I
Yes,
really do.
I
think it's
agree with
coming.
you. There's a sense in the air that we've reached the point really of major combat, not necessarily ground combat. I hope not, but combat strong enough to bring the Iranians down. I
Right.
think, and I hope that's what he goes for.
Now, one thing about ground troops, I think a lot of people confuse that, or at least my opinion is that a lot of people think that we're going to occupy the country or try to. But I think ground troops, I would support using ground troops to make sure the uranium is picked up,
Yes.
or using, for example, the ground troops to take over that island. And I don't think those would be, honestly, very difficult things to do, because I don't believe that Iran has much defense. That I mean, it's not going to be like back during the days of the Iraq War, where we had 140,000 soldiers marching toward Baghdad, and yes, there were battles along the way. It's not going to be like Kuwait, where we were battling with these forces, Iraqi forces. I mean, it's going to be more of just, do we have the willpower to do it? And I think Trump does.
I think he has it now. I wasn't so sure at first. He seemed to be almost in over his head, but I think his head is caught up, and he is now recognizing himself as a wartime leader.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's realized you cannot deal with these people,
That's right.
so you might as well, cut the head off, and go for it. And I think he's got, I don't know, he's got the guts to do it, which is what I appreciate about him. I don't think if he does it, he's not going to back down. So we'll see. I think that's just going to be a topic that we'll probably get to the next time. But I think something big is coming in
Yes.
Iran. Very, very big. I
Yes.
do. Now, one thing that I wanted to bring up, Bill, the International Court of Justice.
Yes.
What a joke. First of all, it's not a court of justice.
No, it's just politics.
It's an office building somewhere, or
Yes.
an office somewhere that says International Court of Justice, and
That's
a bunch
right.
of bureaucrats inside.
Yes, and it's a court that had its last case of any importance probably about 400 years ago.
Right, right. Yeah, well, maybe they actually got involved with the Nazi trials or something, but it's come a long way from that, and it's nothing but more than a place to indict friends of the United States.
Yes, that's right.
And give a pass to everybody who hates the United States.
That's exactly right. They're very much like, in a way, the old League of Nations,
Yeah.
which was not a league and had nothing to do with nations.
Right.
But the International Court of Justice is a farce, because unless you're a member, you're not bound by it. So who needs it?
And we're not a member.
No,
Then we've never become a member.
no, we're not going to.
But I love the way, Bill, that the mayor Mandani, the mayor of New York City, says, if the prime minister of Israel comes to New York City, I am going to arrest him because there's a warrant by the International Court of Justice.
Yes,
And
let
I'm
him
going-
try. Let
Yeah,
him
let him-
try. He
let him
will
try.
wind up in prison himself.
Yeah, but maybe that's the best thing that could
That
happen
probably
to
is
him.
the best thing.
Yeah. I mean, certainly he can write letters from the prison like other famous political prisoners, or whatever, and
Yes,
he can write a book while he's in prison.
and
But
and his wife will suddenly disappear.
right, yeah, or his wife will visit him once a week and maybe bring him some food
Yes.
while he writes his memoirs from prison. But what a joke! And I'm so happy that Secretary Rubio, well, I guess, and the Trump administration have decided that we're not playing this game anymore. So, see you later, alligator.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, amazing. Bill, one last topic I want to bring up is these incidents with ICE. One of them was here in Texas, one up in Maine, of course, the two in Minnesota. Look, I don't know of anybody who is happy that somebody was killed. I'm not, and I don't think anybody at ICE is happy with that.
No.
But I get the impression, you see these marches up in Maine and in Minneapolis. There weren't really that many here in Texas, but there were some, very small. But you got to get the feeling that really has nothing to do with the dead people. It has to do with we hate ICE, and we have a bunch of Democrats who need to say that because of a primary. And that's all that it is. They don't have any solutions whatsoever. Now, I will say this. I do think, and I've said this before, so it's not new, that I think that when they chase an automobile, you expose yourself to more danger than if you just follow the automobile, and when people get out, you arrest them.
Yeah.
That's just my sense. I mean,
yes.
This is not one of these car chases in LA, that we see on TV.
That's right.
So I think you're better off just saying, okay, if we're interested in that car, let's follow it. And when people get out, you arrest them.
Yes.
I think that's a better approach. I really do.
Yes. And I think that what you have right now is a situation where the term ICE is being used as a dirty word, when in fact it performs a very important function in immigration. And the guys who would like to admit every criminal are winning in the Democratic Party, and that is the great tragedy here.
Well, another thing here is, and it kind of goes back to what we were saying before, if you are running as one of these so-called Democrat socialists or whatever the name is, you almost have to be opposed to ICE.
Oh, it's part of the game. It's like being opposed to Israel.
Right.
You may not even know where Israel is, but you're going to be opposed to it.
Yeah, it's like being Catholic. You have to know the Hail Mary. But yes, so they've got all these Democrats freaking out because if they don't come out and say they hate ICE, then they're going to get primaried.
Well, that's exactly right, and I have no doubt that the far left will bring in other issues as well, especially if it begins to feel that it's important, like abolishing the presidency, abolishing the United States Senate, abolishing the Supreme Court, and I don't know what else they want to abolish. But maybe they want to take down all the statues in Washington.
Right. Well, especially the ones from the founding fathers.
Yes.
They can start with those. But actually, I think that is part of their platform.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, it's getting worse and worse by the week,
yes,
because the nuts are gaining power, and they don't think they're nuts. They think they're going to save this country.
And the people they're running against are scared to death, Bill.
That's exactly right.
I mean, you had this lady in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Who had been in the Congress for 30 years. Now, I don't know much about her voting record, but she was not known as a crazy liberal.
No.
Just a moderate Democrat who, I'm sure well liked apparently there, because she'd been there for 30 years. And now she's out, and she was replaced by one of these head cases.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. It's a sad thing on the 250th anniversary of the United States.
Yes. I didn't think about that, but you're right. On the 250th anniversary, they want to destroy the country.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that something? Who would have believed that? I was around for the 200th.
Yeah.
The bicentennial. Remember that?
Oh, sure.
And there was even after Watergate in Vietnam, Bill, there was a tremendous sense of pride that the country had reached 200. I mean, I just remember people back then, they were so proud and like, oh, wow, we've made it to 200.
I think
what a great honor that is.
And I think we ought to have that honor again. And if this war is One is, I think it will be by the president. I think he should take those beautiful formations that fly over Washington with 50 planes and roar them over New York City, and so that the mayor has to run to a building to escape them.
Right, right. That's right. The mayor will probably say you're polluting the air.
Yeah,
But
yes. This is now a natural resource issue.
that's right. It's a climate change issue because you're flying all those planes. Well, Bill, I guess the big story of the week before we go is the World Cup. It's finally coming to an end. Spain defeated France, and now England, as we speak, is playing Argentina. I don't have a
No
result.
score. No score.
Well, that is very typical of soccer for some reason.
No score.
Yeah, so it's I don't know who's going to win. I guess Spain is going to be one of the final two. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win, but I think overall the World Cup was a success for the United States, economic success at least, a PR success,
Yeah, sure.
and I guess we're going to do it again in 20 years. That's what I hear.
Yes, and we'll be on this program in 20 years.
That's right.
Talking about the good old days.
Talking about the good old days when the U.S. was eliminated from the World Cup.
Oh,
Oh, gosh. Well, thank you, Bill, as always. It's always a great honor and pleasure to chat with you, and have a wonderful day, and we'll talk about Iran next week.
I think we're going to be doing a lot of talking about Iran next week.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think it's coming up. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too, Silvio. You too.
Okay, thank you so much. Our good friend Bill Katz, the editor of Urgent Agenda, chat with him once a week. Always enjoy getting his input. Lots of things to talk about today. The Iran, I think something is coming very badly. Well, very importantly, I should say very badly for Iran and the leadership. And of course, some of the other things. I will say it again. These Senate hearings have become a joke, absolute joke. They're not even worth watching anymore because they're just an absolute joke. It's almost like we got to get you. We got to get you. We got to embarrass you. And I think the country should do better than that. Well, have a great week, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.